How are you?
So good. How are you, Farrah?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks so much for having me. I'm super excited.
Of course. I seriously am it is such an honor to be talking with you. I am such a fan of yours.
Oh, thank you. It's so sweet. I'm a fan of yours too now. Now that I've scrolled through your page and seen all that you talk about, I can relate to so much of it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. So, I would love to know, Farrah, for you personally growing up, did you always see yourself getting into real estate, or did you always see yourself? Because to me, you are just such an admirable businesswoman and you've accomplished so much at such a young age. Just, I would love to know like your childhood dreams and like
Yeah.
where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be here, but then
Yeah, of course. So, no, when I was little, I wanted to be a writer. That was my main thing. I always wanted to be a writer. And then I don't know where that dropped off, but then I went to school for psychology. I loved psychology, and I was about to continue on to grad school when my family opened a real estate company. And I always, always, always loved, loved, loved real estate. But I didn't know that I wanted to do it as a career. Um, but I was thinking, I was really into, learning about businesses. I was a business, my business was, my minor was in business in school. And so, we were opening our own company, and I just thought that was so exciting to, be there to learn, all the different aspects of it. So I decided to work for our family business. But I didn't go right into being a real estate agent. For the first 3 years, I was like, do I want to do marketing? Do I want
yeah.
to be in franchises? Like, what do I want to do? I think that I had there was a stigma about becoming a real estate agent. Like, I felt like it was, like a used car salesman type of job. And I just didn't think it was glamorous. And it wasn't really 10 years ago. There was, all these shows like Million Dollar Listing and all these shows, like they weren't around then. So I was like, I don't know, do I really want to do that? But then I realized like I was just so concerned about what everyone else thought that like, oh,
Yeah.
because I did really well in school and I got really good grades. So I'm like, oh, that's not, showcasing like my intelligence enough. But then I was like, why do I care so much? What am I trying to prove to people? Who am I like trying to prove something to? I love real estate. We have a great company. I have an amazing mentor. I'm from LA, so I know a lot of people. I have a lot of connections. So it's kind of like, oh, I have this great opportunity. Why don't I leverage it? Something that I could be really, really great at. So it kind of just happened like the perfect recipe. So
Yeah.
that's how I got into it.
I love that. And I mean, I feel like you're so perfect for it because just from what I've seen, you just have such a good personality and like very
Thank you.
relatable and personable. And I also interviewed James Harris from Million
I
Dollar
saw that.
Listing.
James is one of my good friends. Like I love him.
Oh my
Obsessed.
gosh, he
He's the
was the
best.
nicest guy.
The best, so sweet, hilarious, like neurotic, funny. I watch the show, but people are always like, oh, are they like that in real life? I'm like, whatever they're on the show, they're like probably 20 times better in real life. They're such great guys, so down to earth. Love.
Yes. No, they're the best. I would also want to know, Farah, just from a business standpoint, obviously right now with quarantine happening, how have you shifted? I'm just really interested with real estate specifically. How have, having like open houses and showings, like how has that changed, and just how is the quarantine affecting not just the market, but like how you go about, because all my parents and aunts and uncles are all in real estate.
Yeah.
So just, it really interests me.
Well, I mean, everything is different. It's like the whole industry has been turned upside down. Obviously, yeah, the first thing to go were the open houses. We can't have those. And who knows, people are saying we might never have them again, maybe, or who knows when they'll happen. Suddenly we're going to this whole virtual world. So not just like having meetings on Zoom like everyone else, but virtual open houses, virtual tours, FaceTime showings. So that's just crazy because it's like a face-to-face human interaction, personal relationship kind of business. And suddenly we're having to do everything over video and stuff. But really, it was interesting shift what happened because in the beginning, it was like all these real estate agents were like, I need to, do my job no matter what. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll go through every loophole and I'll do every showing that I can, but from a distance. And then there are another camp of people that were like, no, this is the time to like respect, the bigger picture and, not just be about the selling the house or, getting the paycheck. So it was like really like the two different camps of thought. And I think now that there are actual like forms and safeguards in place and different things like CDC recommendations, there's a
Yeah.
more common ground, but it's just changed everything. But what I find to be really interesting is that even though like I'm not trying to like sell my clients, I'm not trying to say like, hey, it's the best time to buy, like you should really buy, or like you really should sell right now. I think really right now is just about listening and being empathetic with your clients and just being there for them,
Hmm.
and not trying to like be super salesy.
Yeah, it's so true because I was just hanging out with my cousins the other day. We're all from the Bay Area. I was in LA and then I went back home for the
Oh,
quarantine, and
nice.
my aunt, she's a real estate agent in San Francisco, and she's like, I just came back from an open house, and she had the mask on, and she said,
Oh, yeah.
she started selling this house before quarantine, so right now they have to, everyone, it's like one person can come at a time to the showing, and
Yep.
people have to get pre-approved and they can't touch anything. She
Yeah, you
said
have to
it's like,
sign all
oh,
this paperwork. So in a way, it's kind of like vetting people more. Like I think it's going to get rid of more looky-loos. So like when people come, they have to fill in their name. They have to get forms signed before they even go to the showing. You have to make sure that they've seen the video first. So it's a good fit. So in a way, I think it'll be good because a lot of people just like to waste our time and look just for the sake of looking. So that part is good.
yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see, what happens moving forward. And someone asked, how will this affect new agents? I think that it could go either way. It could either, I think that right now people are looking for you to really bring value. It's a really scary time. They really want someone they can trust. So for newer agents, I think that you can provide value if you could really be that trustworthy resource or someone that someone can really trust during this time, then you will set yourself apart. But also, it's a great time because people are using social media more than ever to do their videos, to build their brand. So
Hmm.
now's a great time to do that as a newer agent because when people are sitting at home and looking up, people to work with, then you can have a whole, library of stuff to show off.
That's so true. And I mean, the houses that the agency sells, just like scrolling, they're the most gorgeous
It's
homes.
crazy, right? It's
It's
crazy. I mean, what we're used to is like $100 million properties. Yeah, no big deal. I mean, it's crazy what we see in LA, like insane, all
it's
across the board.
oh my gosh. I mean, like, just it's like, oh, it has a helicopter landing pad. I'm like,
Yeah, that's like the new movie theater. Like a house isn't a house unless it has a helicopter landing pad these days. It's wild.
yes, that's so true. So Farrah, I would also love to know, because you are so young and you have accomplished so many amazing things, do you have any dreams or upcoming like projects or things that you like want to start working on, or you're like, oh my gosh, I always wanted to write, a book or try this thing?
It's funny that you mentioned that because yes, I have been using this time a lot just to think beyond just my real estate business because I do happen to have this platform also that I really don't feel like I take that much advantage of, and I really want to because, the few times here and there that I do post a video or talk about these kinds of things like anxiety or whatever, I get so many people reaching out and like it really, resonates, just these simple, topics that are so universal. So I really have been thinking that I really want to do a podcast. I've always wanted to do one.
Oh my God,
But
so exciting.
yeah, I know. I'm really excited. I just, my boyfriend's like, just, you'll never have one unless you just start it, just start it, just start it. But I'm such a perfectionist that I'm like, no, I really want to like narrow it down in a way, like find some sort of niche, like, so many people are doing them. Like I want to have some sort of direction. So on one hand, like I want to like kind of really think about it, but on the other hand, like I think he's right. Like I should just kind of start. But it's scary. It's really scary.
It is scary. And honestly, like, I started a podcast and it's like you're putting yourself out there and it's this vulnerable side of you.
Yeah.
But I think that would be such a fun idea because it's just, you never know like what conversations can come up and the ripple effect of like inspiring so many people.
And how has that been for you, your experience with the podcast?
I have really enjoyed it. To me, it's almost like therapeutic. It's just every time I get on and I can just pour my heart out, and it's just fun because you get to pick what topic. Do you want it to be about entrepreneurship or real estate or like food, living in LA, anything, and then having the guests come on. It's just a really fun opportunity.
Yeah, I think that sounds amazing. I mean, I'm not a big like public speaker. I that's not my thing, but I love like one-on-one conversations. I love really going deep, and I know a lot of great people. So so that's what I'm really thinking about. And also just about like just building a brand where real estate is like the main thing, but just like a more of like a lifestyle kind of woman's brand. So I'm just kind of trying to think bigger picture right now.
Yes, and that's so huge. I would also love to know, Farrah, just because I think mental health is so huge right now, just for you personally, during this quarantine or everyday life, do you have like morning and nighttime routines or any like, I would love to hear it.
I'm obsessed with routines. That's my favorite thing to ask people too. I am obsessed with knowing how do people schedule their day, how are they productive, what time do they wake up. So I have a morning routine. Before quarantine, I was waking up at 5:30 every day during the week. And that's not like a natural thing. I'm not an early bird at all.
Yeah.
But I wake up with a lot of anxiety, unfortunately, every day. And I always feel like, oh my God, all the emails are coming in. Like, oh my God, there's so much to do. So I was like, if I wake up like when it's still dark before, like I can wake up in peace, like get a head start. So my boyfriend and I started waking up at 5:30 in the morning. We meditate for 20 minutes. We work out. We go to the gym together. And then we have, our same smoothie every day. Then we have our coffee. So we pretty much like from 5:30 till 8:30, like 3 hours of just our morning routine before we even do anything. But now that we're in quarantine, I'm waking up like at 7:30 because I don't need to be awake for all those additional hours. And I'm still, kind of waking up. I don't look at my phone for probably an hour. Have my green juice, have my coffee. Actually got a tip from, I don't know if you follow Lauren from the Skin Confidential.
I love her.
She's the best. And I follow her agenda. I don't know if you saw, like she does her like 3 gratefuls, then her top 3 priorities, then how she wants to feel for the day, a mantra, and then the 7 to-dos for the day. So I've been doing that every morning and I love it. I love prioritizing. And then,
I love that. And I love that you do that because it is so powerful. For me growing up, I've been super honest and open. I used to struggle. I still do struggle with anxiety. And when I was in high school specifically, I was having like panic attacks all day long. And I was like, what's going on? I feel like I'm dying throughout the day.
Yeah.
I didn't know. And then my parents just were like, we love you, Megan. We're going to put you in therapy. So
was it like just generalized anxiety or something?
It was anticipatory anxiety. So it was.
I think that's what I have, honestly, because that's every day when I wake up like this. Oh my God. Every day, like literally every day. Like today, I'm still trying to work through this. Like I'm still not on the other side. It's crazy.
No, it was just so draining. But basically I would always get nervous and worried about things that hadn't happened yet, like things in the future, because I'm anticipating, I'm going to do horrible. I'm going to blow up.
Was it like, cause I was the same, like when it came to like a test, a presentation or anything like that, or was yours more just like life events or like stuff or like relationships?
Was for sure school. Like academically, I struggled a lot, but it would be, I'm going to do horrible on this test. And it was, this guy's not going to like me. It was just for everything in my life. And then therapy, I like hypnotherapy. I loved it. It just really helped me get to the root of why I do think this way and just what happened in my childhood. And it was so helpful.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I go to therapy too. But it's like therapy. It's all the things that you're supposed to do, right? The meditation, the breathing, all of that. But I still struggle with some sort of underlying anxiety every day. But for me, it's more like just acknowledging like, okay, I'm feeling anxious right now, or like talking myself out of it every time I feel it coming up. and just reminding
Yes.
myself, okay, like this is, you're being, you know, you're having anxiety, like it's okay, your world's not ending, like you're selling real estate, no one's dying, you're not you know, you're not a surgeon. And so I'm constantly like having a dialogue to talk myself out of anxiety throughout the day.
Oh my gosh,
So
I
it's
love
crazy.
that. I literally, if someone could like look inside my brain, I talk to myself out loud and in my head. Like
Oh,
I
me
act
too.
like
All
my
day
own
long,
therapist.
out loud, all day long. It's crazy. It's so crazy.
I know. But just even just today, I remember waking up and feeling like I couldn't breathe. And one thing that I always do that helps me if I'm anywhere, like on a flight, driving a car, in a meeting,
Hmm.
if I ever feel like I'm about to, you know, have a panic attack, I just feel that awful, anxious feeling. I'll just like if I can, I'll put one hand on my stomach, one hand on my chest, or I'll just notice, okay, where am I breathing from? Because for
Yeah.
me, if I feel like I can't catch my breath, like I'm just shallow breathing, then that to me means I'm having anxiety. And
Right.
versus,
Oh my God. Shallow breathing. That's my state of normal all the time. It's not normal.
yeah, and then versus like if I'm like breathing actually like pushing out my stomach, then I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, well, it's not anxiety because for me, I feel like I can't have anxiety if I'm like deep breathing
Wait,
and I'm like,
you are into Wim Hof?
yes.
I'm obsessed with him. Obsessed. That he's incredible.
Did you watch the
Incredible.
Goop like docu-series?
Yes. Amazing.
Oh my
Amazing.
gosh.
Amazing. He's unreal.
I know.
Yeah. I love that. It's crazy how so many people deal with anxiety that like we literally don't even know how to breathe correctly. It's so crazy how many people this affects.
It is so crazy. And it's especially like right now, I think it's triggering for so many people of all these worst case possible scenarios of what if I run out of money? What if there's no food? What if all of these like this whole global pandemic? But it's just so powerful because like we all have this opportunity to have these types of like open, honest conversations. And
Yeah.
you know, we're all human beings and like, I don't know. I used to just, when I was younger, I remember feeling so embarrassed by anxiety. Like I didn't tell anyone and I would just
Really?
run off to, I would ask my teacher, like, can I go to the bathroom? I would get the hall pass and I would run off to the
Oh
bathroom
my
stall
God.
and just start crying because I was like, I think I'm having a heart attack.
Right. I guess now it's a term that everyone is so used to because it's so out there and people talk about it. My mom has terrible anxiety. My sister does. I used to think like, what are they talking about? Because mine came later in life. I didn't have it my whole life except for only like before a test or before a presentation. And then, you know, I would study and then I'd get through the test and then I'd go away and then I'd be fine until the next one came up. But
Yeah.
in this job or like as an entrepreneur, when it's not like, okay, there's just a date and then it's over, or, you know, your finals and then the semester's over. It's like you constantly feel like you should be doing more. You could be doing this, or you know, even if you have these appointments today, you should be planning for the marketing for the next year. Like there's always so many things to do. So it's like, when does the anxiety stop? It feels like it never ends. So the only solution is, you know, to try to get ahead of it or to understand it or
Yeah.
preventative or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that way too. I try, someone said, have you ever tried like CBD? I'm like, I'm the queen of self-care. I've tried like, I mean, I'm not saying like drugs, but I've done like the CBD lotions and like the
Oh,
pain
all of
stuff.
the
And
tinctures, all of the potions, all of everything, right?
I have all the crystals, especially in LA. I'm like all the shops in like Venice Beach. I'm like, can I buy this crystal, sage, Palo
Yeah,
Santo?
literally. So what are your top tricks?
Ooh, I would say my top tricks. One, I think the deep breathing and whether that's like alternate nostril breathing where you like inhale, hold
Uh-huh.
it, and then exhale out the other one. And then you do that
Okay.
for like 10 minutes and it balances both sides of your brain.
Wow,
Or
gotta look into that one.
yeah, that's really powerful. I like things that you can do anywhere. Like if you say, excuse me, I have to use the restroom, you can just be like,
Yeah, literally under the table.
um, I love guided meditations where it just helps you just, you know, observe your thoughts. I think that's powerful where just to not get attached to your thoughts. I think
Yes,
for
for
me, I
sure.
like can start off my day and it's like a trail of breadcrumbs. I'm like, wait, it's 3 p.m. Where did I go wrong? And I backtrack and I'm like, okay, so I'm having an inner argument with myself of like, why am I thinking about this? And
Oh
then
yeah. all the time. It's,
It goes
yep,
into
the
a
never
spiral.
ending loop. But yeah, that's the trick. You really have to like notice the thought, acknowledge, and let it go.
Yes.
And someone wrote, I think, just think for today, and that's 100% true. Is like you really have
Ooh,
to. The Power of Now, one of the best books ever.
so
But
powerful.
even though you read stuff like I read that book and it just makes so much sense, but you constantly have to remind yourself. So I'll still have anxious feelings that come up, but then I just tell myself, okay, if I only think about what's happening right now,
Mm-hmm.
then really nothing is happening. Again, you're not dying. Like just focus on what's happening right in front of you. Don't worry about the past, don't worry about the future. So constantly reminding yourself of that, I think really helps with the
That's so
stress.
powerful. Wait, Farrah, I would love to know, like, what are your favorite kind of just like self, like anxiety, like go to?
Um, Hot yoga when we could go to hot yoga. I just felt like just like the sweat and the heat. Oh my God, my best friend is here. Hi. Hi Sarah. Yeah, so hot yoga I love, and then also I just think that just the quiet in the morning.
Mm,
So just the not looking at the emails, having, I just don't like to be rushed. So that's why I shifted to like, so whatever time you need to like be ready and out the door or whatever, you should, I like to wake up like a full 2 hours before at least. Because the
yes.
last thing I like, I just don't like to get up and rush and rush and rush. So starting your day off calm, and yoga, and then probably, I just think sometimes just going outside and just looking
Yeah.
at the sky, like just stopping. If I feel stressed between work, take 20-minute break, or every hour go outside for like 5 minutes. Just take a little break. I think that really helps too.
Yeah, it's so powerful. I love it. Someone said, have you ever tried goat yoga?
No, I haven't, but I always wanted to because on one episode of my mom's show, I think Lisa Rinna took her kids and they did goat yoga, and I was so jealous, and it looked so fun.
I saw that episode. She's literally like in like cat cow and the goat just like hops on
It's
her. I'm like,
hilarious. It's so cute. I mean, who invented this? It's nuts. I love it.
I know. That's so funny. Yeah, and I mean, I just think like you are just so like I look up to you in so many ways because one, you're just such an incredible female business lady,
Thank
and
you.
but two, also like you're so open and honest, and you're just it's just so refreshing, and it's just really really awesome to be able to like talk to you, and you're like, yeah, like I feel anxious sometimes, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so
Yeah, I mean, I feel
cool.
like, well, I'm working on that too. I feel like, well, it's easy for me when like I can connect with a like-minded person and we share things in common, so then it's easy. But for me in general, it's not that easy to be super open and honest. So that's another thing that I've been working on. But I still haven't posted. I'll post like on my stories or whatever, but I still haven't posted certain videos on my
Hmm.
feed because then I feel like, oh my God, that's so scary. Like it lives there forever. So it's like a work in progress. So it's really about, I guess, you just letting go of like not worrying about what anyone thinks, I guess, or, I mean, you probably can give me advice and tips on that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like growing up, my anxiety to me was at its worst when I was 13 to 17, and then I got into therapy at 14, which like changed my whole
Yeah.
entire life. And now I'm 24, so I don't like I don't have the panic attacks that I used to where it was, I'm calling my mom crying from my school nurse's office. It was like debilitating and it
Wow.
affected my grades and my social life and my eating habits. But now with just I run my own business, and especially like with quarantine, and there's different for me. I've just noticed that I have different triggers now at
Right.
24 versus like 14. And I know, I don't drink caffeine, I don't drink alcohol. I have a very like
That really
certain
triggers you.
lifestyle, but
Oh, wow, that's so interesting. And is your anxiety, I mean, is it genetic or did it come out of
yes.
nowhere?
Yeah, it's fully genetic. Like when I told my parents at 14, I was like, you guys, can I talk to you for a second? And they like turned off the TV after dinner one night, and then I just like cried for them for like 2 hours.
Oh my
My dad was
God.
like, Megan, let's go on a little walk. And I was like, okay. And then we start walking. He's like, so I just want you to know what you're feeling. It's fully real. It's hereditary. It runs in my
Wow.
family, which was really powerful
That
because,
makes you feel better, right? You're
oh
like,
yeah, and
oh, I'm
I
not
could put it
crazy.
exactly, and I could put a name on what I was feeling. So
Yeah.
for me, it is like fully hereditary.
Wow. That
Yeah.
makes sense. It's in my family too, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, anxiety, it's like, it's a struggle, but it's like, to me, it's a blessing because every day I get this chance to work on myself and it gives me an opportunity
Yeah.
to always be improving in some way.
Are you an extrovert naturally? It seems so.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's funny because it's funny when I hear extroverts talk and they're like, oh my God, I'm just assuming that like everyone's safe and healthy and like financially okay. They're like, oh, the whole quarantine thing has been really hard and all the anxieties and everything. But for me, who's like naturally actually an introvert with extrovert tendencies, weird, I know, because I'm a real estate agent, but I am naturally an introvert. So for me, since luckily, my family's safe and I'm healthy, it's actually been a really nice like change of pace from like the super like frenetic running around lifestyle. And it just shows that like we're so used to this crazy fast pace every single day that the quarantine has really caused us to slow down. And I'm actually enjoying that part of it. And it's almost like I talk to a lot of other real estate agents too, and they're like, oh my God, we're loving this. Like they're like, we're like scared to get back to like the normal pace of life in a way. So it's weird how different people are having like different reactions in that sense. And I think it does have to do with, whether you're an introvert and extrovert to some degree.
I agree completely. Like this time for me, I feel like I've never been more relaxed. I'm like,
Right?
is something wrong? Am I allowed to feel this way? Because
No,
I feel like,
totally.
oh my gosh, I have time to like, take a warm bath. I have time to like cook meals, which I'm
Right.
normally like in an airport, like so, I'm just constantly on the go. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like a fun, I don't know, vacation.
I know. And a lot of people are like embarrassed or scared to say that. And I see some people are writing that they're feeling the same way. But I think that just shows that like we all thought we had allowed to operate, on a certain way. And it's true,
Yeah.
yes, productivity and being really busy is great and all, but at the same time, like we can still get a lot of things done and we don't have to do it in the way we were doing. So I think hopefully after we come out of this, there will be some sort of shift where like we'll go back to life sort of, but we also can realize like we can maybe do things a little differently, have a little more
Yes.
compassion, or it's not about getting the most things done in one day, but the most important things done or things like that.
Of
So
course. That's so true. Oh my gosh. Farrah, this was such a fun
this
conversation.
was so much fun. Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it a lot.
Of
And
course.
I'm
Thank
so
you.
impressed by you, and congrats on everything. And seems like you're gonna, already a huge success, but you're gonna be even bigger success. So it was awesome to be chatting with you.
Oh my gosh. Likewise. I mean, I'm like fangirling inside. I'm doing backflips, but I'm like,
Aw, so sweet.
but thank you so much for taking the time. You are absolutely like a light on